The gentlewoman from Fairfax, Ms. Filler-Corn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for an introduction and a point of personal privilege.
Woman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure if the folks are here today. They're definitely here in Richmond around Capitol Square. I'm not sure if they're up in the gallery, but I'd like to introduce several individuals. We have supporters today from the Commonwealth, around the Commonwealth, from the organization Help Save the Next Girl, including Trina Murphy, the aunt of Alexis Murphy, whose tragic loss has inspired many to action and who's an active supporter of Help Save the Next Girl. Help Save the Next Girl was founded by Jill and Dan Harrington and their daughter after their daughter Morgan went missing and was found dead in 2009. They have made it their life's work to honor Morgan, and they support victims of campus violence and to make sure that all students are safe on college campuses, even when they're just visiting a college campus. Additionally, there are several individuals who are here today who are here to advocate on behalf of campus sexual assault legislation, and specifically my bill HB 1343, including our very own Fairfax County Sheriff Stacey Kincaid. If the Murphys and Harringtons and Sheriff Kincaid are here, I ask that we please give them a warm house welcome.
Gentlewoman from Fairfax.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As many of you know, I'm the mother of 2 college students. And when we dropped off our youngest this fall, it was truly one of the hardest things I ever had to do. As a parent, we work so hard every single day to try to make sure everything our children do, everything that they do, they're safe. Everything from their first moments to when we drop them off in college, as I did this fall. Keeping all kids safe and healthy certainly has guided my work in the legislature, as I'm sure it has many of you. This summer, the Washington Post reported the 2012 Clery Act numbers, which record forcible sexual assaults reported on college campuses. There were more than 3,900 reports nationwide. 3,900. That number, to me, I know, is certainly alarming. Also alarming is the United States Justice Department's report released in December that found that 80% of students do not report rapes or sexual assaults to the police. 80%. As many of you know, trying to pass legislation to combat campus sexual assault is not new for me, an issue I've been working on for years. For the past couple years, I've had many conversations, numerous, with victims, with advocates, with victims groups, with law enforcement, police, Commonwealth's attorney, students, to determine how best we can move forward, how best to move forward and pass legislation this year. One thing I learned quickly as I began to work: campus sexual assault is an incredibly complex problem that will take a truly comprehensive approach to solve. There's no silver bullet, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach, unfortunately. But we can start by showing victims of campus sexual assault that they will be heard and that the system will support them. I've introduced HB 1343 to help restore victims' faith in the system so they'll be comfortable coming forward on their own terms and working with law enforcement. Once a victim reports a sexual assault to campus and or to law enforcement, my bill HB 1343 comes into place. It comes into play and would require the local Commonwealth attorney or campus police would require the local law enforcement or campus police to notify the Commonwealth's attorney within 48 hours after the beginning of an investigation, after the victim reports the sexual assault to the campus police. This common sense bill has bipartisan support here, as well as the support from the Virginia sheriffs and other law enforcement, a number of Commonwealth's attorneys, and many victims and victim advocacy groups. Because we know that by getting the Commonwealth attorney involved, we can make sure that the investigation is properly pursued and victims are given the resources they truly need. This means things like counseling, access to someone who can educate a victim about his or her options going forward with a criminal prosecution. We can all agree that it's vital in cases like this to get law enforcement involved as early as possible, and that's exactly what HB 1343 does. At the same time, this bill respects the wishes of the victims that step forward, which is of utmost concern. Respecting the wishes of victims has long been a held principle of effective criminal law enforcement, as we all know. Without the victim's cooperation, it can be incredibly difficult to prosecute a case. I also want to take the opportunity to point out specifically what HB 1343 is not. It is not mandatory reporting. This bill does not require anyone who is a victim this bill does not require anyone who a victim may turn to help report the incident of law enforcement or face a fine or charges of their own, especially someone a victim trusts and turns to for guidance, advice, and support. We've heard from the advocates, and I know many of you have too, all of us have, and from victims. Mandatory reporting in the form that it has been discussed and debated this session can have unintended consequences of discouraging victims from coming forward. I can appreciate the outrage and the alarm and the frustration that so many of us and many colleagues have about this issue, especially parents themselves. As legislators, we tend to want to fix the problem immediately and move on. But we cannot let those actions make the problem worse. When 80% of victims aren't reporting their assaults, we need to do everything we can to encourage them from coming forward. We need them to come forward. And they need to know that the system will not discourage the involvement of law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the eyes of the nation are definitely on the Commonwealth of Virginia now as we debate this issue. We have a great opportunity to show victims that we will not tolerate sexual assault on campuses. We can show them that they too can have faith in our justice system and that we are listening to them, that we are working to keep them safe. Our university system has long been a point of pride for us in Virginia, throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, and truly underpins the economic engine. However, the safety of our students must be paramount. Let's not miss this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to take a step forward by strengthening our universities and keeping our children safe at the same time. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.